Thank you for joining this home builder education video. Today we're going to be looking at color chart items, which are also known as upgrades and extras, and also known as selection packages. In this video, we're going to show how to create a new item with a series of colors. We're going to do hardwood flooring. Our hardwood flooring, the way that we price it, it's based upon the species and based upon the area that we're going to cover. So we actually not going to give quotes out. We're not going to expect quotes from our trades based upon the house area that's going to be filled. It's actually going to be based upon the square footage, square meters. And so in this example, what I'm going to start with is show you some existing color chart items that we have. If I click into here, you will see that I've got a series of color chart items, but the one I'm looking at first is this engineered hardwood. If I open up the item, there's a couple of key setup pieces to review. The first one is when you create the item, it will automatically classify it as a service type, give it a description that makes sense to you. And you'll see this in later documents as well. On top of that, I want to make sure that I'm actually got a base unit of square foot. You can choose square meters or whatever you've got set up in your base unit, a measure table. The category code for me is flooring. I've decided not to have a category called hardwood because for each of my house areas, for each of the rooms where I'm going to be putting flooring in, you get to pick either hardwood or carpet. You don't get to pick both. And so I'm making it this way so that when I go into the selection, the system will say to me, based upon the house areas that I filled in, which is up here, based upon these, the system will say to me, okay, do you want to pick carpet or hardwood? You'll notice here I don't have any bathrooms set up. I've just got bedrooms and places that I can actually put these hardware or, if relevant, put the carpet. The next part of the setup is to go down, and I noticed that I've indicated it has variants. Variants are required, and also I have indicated which task this relates to. It's part of the construction process, and in it, I've said that when you get to hardwood, the hardwood task, I want to show the selection that the home buyer made. I've classified it as a color chart item, which means that it's no longer part of the base contract building of the home. And on top of that, because I'm pricing this based upon a measurement type, not a specific item, it's a measurement type, I've said that it's based upon an area and that the costing is going to be universal. So I don't care which model it goes in. I don't care which house area it goes in. I'm just going to have the same cost for that item. I can't see any unit cost here, and the reason is because I've costed it at the variant level. If I click into item variants, the Q down the bottom right here, you will see that I've got different unit costs over here. You'll also see that I've said I want to price this to the home buyer based upon a profit markup. And here are my markups that I've entered, and the system has calculated this profit, and it's also calculated this unit price. If I go to the original vendor contract and I change this unit cost, this price will be updated automatically for me. I've added a picture so that when I am going through the selection process with the home buyer, I can go and show an image of whatever I think this is going to look like. I've added them for all these, and it looks as though I've forgotten to add one here. It's very simple. Just click on this. I'm going to click on import. And it says, okay, what do you want to do? You can browse or drag the image over. So in my case, I know that I've got a walnut type floor over here. So I drag that in, and there it is. It's now loaded my image up. This image, because I've saved it here at the variant level, will show on the color chart selection. So that is, there's some final setups in the bottom here. And basically the cost details is just what I've decided to attach to any hardwood extra. And the revenue details, I don't particularly care to classify. I just say, I don't care what you buy, it's just classified as an extra. And that's about the setup for the base item. What I want to do is, you can see that I've got upgrades level 1, 2, and 3. I need to create an upgrade level 4. And so you can do that just by going into the item and in copying it. There is a routine in here under actions called copy to new item, and that works well. If you want to do a whole bunch of these though, and you wanted to actually export the information to Excel and then format everything in there and then bring it back in, that can be a lot easier when it comes to doing a lot of items. So I'm not going to talk about this copy function here. That's hopefully somewhat self-explanatory. And do we want to copy the variants? Do we want to copy the house areas and give it a new name and off we go? So that's very simple, but I'm going to do the example where I'll only show one additional item, but it just demonstrates the concept. I'm going to create upgrade level 4, and I'm going to give it an item number 60013. So the way to do that is go to your search in the top right, and if you just start typing item work, it will come up to item worksheet templates. I'm going to open this up. I've created a couple of templates for me. Just give them a name, a code, and give them a name, whatever works for you. And then go into batches. Again, I'm just going to have one set of batch here. It doesn't matter to me too much. And then I'm going to click right into the item worksheet. I can see that I've already done some work here. Let me just clear that out and start with a blank sheet. I want to copy what I already have. So I'm going to add from items, and it just lists all the items I've got. And I can add multiple items if I want to. But in my situation, I'm going to bring in a hardwood item. If I look at this, you can see this is the upgrade level 1. I was pretty happy with that. So I'm going to bring that in. You'll notice upgrade level 1, upgrade level 2, and upgrade level 3 do not show the variants in this list. But when I add them to the worksheet, the variants are shown in the list. So although you can create new lines in here, the purpose of this explanation is to show you how this works in Excel. So I'm just going to click into this, and I'm going to say export to Excel. The system goes and builds this list. It will be over on my other screen, and I will open up that spreadsheet, and I'll bring it over. So for my situation, I said that I was going to create a new item. I'm going to call it 60013. That doesn't exist already, and I'm just going to copy that number down to all the variants. I'm going to say upgrade level 4. And I'm going to copy that down. And then in my situation, I'm happy to have this, but maybe I want to create a new code in here. And this is just, Oak Special, just call it that, just because we want to see that it can appear differently. In this database, I am charging us a little bit more. So let's put my pricing in. I'm actually going to, there's a little helpful formula in Excel. If I type in an increase of price of 1.5, I'm just going to copy, Control-C to put this into memory, and I'm going to highlight this range here, right-click on it, click on Paste Special, and here there's an option called Multiply. I click OK, and you can see that it's upgraded the unit cost here. Just for the sake of completeness, I'm also going to do the same over here. And if I click in Paste Special and I click on Multiply, and there we go, I've updated our unit price. When you import from Excel, the system takes things quite literally. And so just make sure that whatever you bring in, you've checked. Over here, you can see I've got my template tasks. I've got the descriptions. I've got my cost detail codes. All of this stuff remains the same. I don't need to do anything. It's taxable, and it belongs to this posting group. So I'm pretty happy with that. That's all I'm going to do. I'm going to close this down and save it. And then I'm going to click on to this. I'm just going to clear these out. I don't need them anymore. This was the basic information to pre-build my Excel sheet. And now I'm going to import from Excel. And I go over to here, and let me just find that worksheet. I click into here, drag it in, and off we go. It's imported the records, and you can see that there we go. The new item number 60013, upgrade 4. And this is the new variant that I gave for the oak, and the rest of it I'm just going to accept because I'm happy with the setup that the system's done. So there we go. I apply the worksheet. It's been done. I can clear this out if I want to, or I can just leave it. It doesn't matter. It'll be there next time. And I'm going to go back, and let's go and have a look at what it did. I'll click into the color chart items, and you can see here it is. It's created the new one. If I open this up, you will see that all the things that you would expect have been set up. It's a color chart item, it's deliverable. It's got all of these things in here. As you can see, the cost is not there because this is a variant-based item, and it's based upon measurements and areas. So let me click into the item variant here. And you can see that these are the costs. Here is that one that I changed, the new description. And if we scroll over, you will see that my unit prices have been updated, my markups have been maintained, and everything as I would expect. You'll also notice there are no pictures. The pictures don't copy across. I'll have to go and bring those in again if I want to see pictures here. What I'm now going to do is I'm going to take this item and I want to make it so that it is available for use. In order to do that, I have to perform this function push to models. Back on the construction item card, I can do this from the list or from the card. I'm here, so I'll just do that right now. And then the system tells me immediately, you've got a bit of a problem. You've got a house area all. So the system automatically created that, probably based upon this category. And in my situation, if I click into the house areas, I don't want the house area all. It's not relevant. I don't install hardwood in the whole of the house. This is an upgrade. So I'm just going to remove that. I might actually want to go and look at my setup and make sure that that house area all doesn't exist for future situations. It belongs in this item category code. I won't do that today, but I'm just showing you how the error messages present themselves. So I've removed that house area all. It wasn't relevant for me. And I am happy with the rest of the house areas where this can be installed. That's all good. I push to models again, and the system says, okay, which models do you want to push this to? And I'm going to say, well, upgrade level 4, it only exists in Jupiter and Mars. I don't have it in these other models. It's not something which I'm going to offer. So I'm only going to push it to these models. I don't want someone in the Mercury model to be able to pick this upgrade level 4. So I'm just not going to put it there. So let me push these items to it. And the system is going to say if it's happy or it's not happy. And yeah, it's happy. It went and pushed all the items there. When it did that, it did a handful of things. And so I'm just going to refresh this page by coming back here. And you can see, and I could have gone back into the card, but on the right-hand side, you can see that what it did was it created a model item here, and it created a phase item. Didn't create my vendor contract. And the reason it didn't create that vendor contract is because I did not have a default vendor and a default contract on the item, which is fine. But what it means, I've now got to go and do that. So let me do that right away. I want to see the vendor contract price. So I click into the phase items, and here it is. I'm just going to close off this filter view on the right, on the left, sorry. And if I scroll over, I can see no vendor contract number. Okay, so let's assign it. I already have a contract in place for flooring. And so it's down here somewhere, and there it is, Padberg hardwood and laminate. So I'm going to pick that, and let's actually pick the contract itself. And so I've got these two elements put in here, and now I'm going to assign this vendor contract to the phase item. Click OK, and there it is. What I can now do is I can see that I've now got a whole bunch more information. I've got 7 phase item variants. I've got 2 model items. I've got 14 model item variants. I've got a whole bunch of information which the system has built for me automatically. So let's look at these model item variants. In the end, this is what we actually pick after you've made all of your selections. And I can see in here that against the model Jupiter, I've got all of these options. Against the model Mars, I've got all of these options. The system has automatically built all of this list for me. It's built all of these pricing for me, and it's going to calculate this at the house area level. So the question is, what's it going to calculate? If I come back out of here, I'm going to want to know, all right, if I'm going to put ash into the Jupiter model at a price of $10.50 or $10.50 per square foot in my situation, how is that going to price out? The way that it prices out is based upon the house area calculations. So if I come into the Jupiter model, I can see that I have all of these house areas. And the house areas that I have are, some of them can take what I've got defined for hardwood, and some of them can't. So the backyard, it won't have anything in there, even though it does have a calculation, but I didn't specify that house area on my item. Let's go to bedroom 2. I can see that what I've done is I've specified 160 square foot. So what it will do is it will calculate that $10.50, multiply it by 160, and off we go. If I was in bedroom 3, then that's 154, and I can see these numbers here. I found this by going into the model house areas. What I could have done if I want to go and do updates in a slightly easier to manage fashion. I went into related and I went into model house area measurements. And in here, what it does is it lists all of the measurements. And if I was, for instance, to just click on here and I go filter to this value, I can see these are all the house areas with a measurement type code area. That's what I put on my item. And these are the actual calculations for them. There are certain functions where the system mandates you have a value in here. So if you get an error that it says I don't have a value, just go and drop a 1 in and that will cover things for you. But better to put the actual values in. So you can see here, bedroom 2 is 160, bedroom 3 is 154. Right, let's see how that actually functions. I'm going to actually purchase upgrade level 1 in this example because I've got the pictures in there and I want to show you how that works. And I'm not going to spend the time here to import the pictures into upgrade level 4. So let's go ahead. I'm going to open up the lot and I'm going to click on lot number 4. In lot number 4, I have some selection packages which I've already started. This is the color chart here, and this is the home buyer customer. I'm just going to click into choices. What I've done when I clicked on populate originally, you can see that in a different video, but when I clicked on populate, the system went out and it said, okay, these are all the house areas you have. These are all the categories within those house areas, and you must make a selection for these or delete them, take your pick. When they're mandatory, I can't delete them, but when they're not mandatory, then I can. And that setup's all under the phase color charts selections. But in here, if I, for instance, look in the bathroom, if you remember, I said that this didn't, hardwood didn't belong there. In the bathroom, I can only do tiles. So I didn't have that house area on my hardwood because I'm not allowed to put it there. And bedroom 2, I am allowed to choose it. So let's go into here. And you can see that I've got 1, 2, 3, and this is the upgrade 4 that I just introduced, but I'm going to pick upgrade level 1. And if I click on that, you can see it immediately gives me an initial picture, but that's only somewhat useful. What I really need to look at is the images that were on the variants, because those are the different colors I have. And you can see here, it tells me the costs or the prices. You can change this to a list view if you like. And in the list view, you have the prices. On my view, I can't see costs because I've removed my ability to see that, but that's a permission setting. In here, you can see that I have 150 square feet. So I think the model I have on this particular one was not the Jupiter, it was the Mars model. Anyway, whatever it is whatever it is. I'm going to pick ebony and I'm going to pick the item variant and it's going to add it. And you can see here that what it said is my total price, 150 square feet multiplied by 627 equals this price here. I've got a picture over here, so I can see that. If I was on a tablet, I'd be able to see that nice and easily too. So there we go. If you you have to complete the color chart. I'm not going to complete that process. I'm just showing you how I selected one of those items. Of course, sorry, I didn't demonstrate how to look at it in bedroom 3, which should be a different size. So I'm going to pick the same item here, the engineered hardwood, and let's pick that item. And when I go into this variant code here, you can see I've got a different quantity. So let's pick again the ebony. I pick that item color, and you can see because the room's slightly smaller, it's a different price. And so that did what we would have expected it to do. So let me come back out of the selection choices. And my last remark on this is about cost updates. If I want to go and change the cost, I can go into the item and drill into the contract, but you don't actually have to do that. You can just go ahead, find the vendor contract itself, go find Padberg World, that's who does our flooring for us. If I click into here, you can see there are all these phase items. These phase items are all the different hardwoods that we work with this company on. We're going to come back out of here. I'm going to click into current pricing. And when I click into current pricing, you can see that there are tons of entries in here. You can export and import, so you can manage this a little easier in Excel. But you can notice here, this is the hardwood, this is the laminate, and this is the engineered hardwood that I was working on. And so if I came into here and if I went and said, okay, they've just given me a new price, it's no longer 570, it's now 623. What will happen is this price will go back out. It will go and update all the model item variants. based upon the price profitability that I requested, it will then increase the sales price to the customer, and all of that will have been completely automatic. So any new requests that I make in my color chart selections, they will be updated. Thanks very much for watching this video. I hope it was helpful.